Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bobby O'Connell. I am your Zoom master for tonight's Power Hour session, Getting to Know the Pathways DTM. I'm really excited to introduce our presenter tonight, Trish Blackwelder. And Trish, a 5-time Distinguished Toastmaster or DTM. She served as an ambassador and as the Pathways chair from 2018 to 2020, when the Pathways program was first introduced in District 3. She's passionate about Pathways as well as Toastmasters leadership opportunities. And besides being a Pathways subject matter expert, Trish is also a past district governor. She's a co-founder of Showtime Toastmasters, and she is a frequent workshop presenter and training facilitator in District 3, as well as some other districts in Toastmasters. Outside of Toastmasters, Trish is a vice president in the credit card rewards program at Bank of America. She loves cooking up experimental recipes in her kitchen and hanging out with her better half, Bob, and their 3 feline fur babies. So please join me in welcoming Trish Blackwelder as she shares important information to help us in getting to know the Pathways DTM. Trish.
Thank you, Bobby. And thank you everyone for being here in attendance tonight. Since the Pathways deployment, there's been much discussion around the Pathways Distinguished Toastmaster, or you'll hear me referring to that as the DTM. Now, the Pathways DTM is not a path, okay? It is similar to its legacy counterpart in that the DTM is designed to be the culmination award for completing speeches and service to the district. First and foremost are the speeches and service. Then there's what you'll hear me referring to as the capstone DTM project. And that is designed to demonstrate all the learning accomplished by the member through the previous efforts. When you leave here tonight, I expect that you'll be able to explain the objective and benefits of separating the DTM from the paths and of our educational program, as well as have a better understanding of how to prepare yourself for your Pathways DTM. Let's start with the eligibility requirements. Now, when I was the Pathways ambassador, I was anxious to request my DTM as quickly as possible. I made it a point to order the 2 paths I was qualified to order, and I focused on completing at least one of them as soon as possible. Completing my first path plus level 3 of my second path took me a total of 15 months from the D3 deployment date. Just as with a path, requesting one and completing one are 2 very different efforts. My DTM project, however, was issued to me on March of 2019, which, yes, is 2 years ago. Now, to request your DTM project, just to repeat, you must have completed at least 1 full path and a level 3 of a second different path. You cannot do 2 of the same path. All right, so if you have not already registered for 2 paths, then I would suggest you go ahead and do so. We all know that as members, we tend to flex and work across projects. So that way you can be working on both paths simultaneously. And as soon as you get one completed and level 3 of the second one, you will be able to request your DTM project from the education department at World Headquarters. When you request your DTM project, they will verify that you are eligible for the DTM project, and then they will load it. They will push load it to your base camp. And it will be accessible in the same area that you find your current path. So one day you'll pop into your learning transcript and there will be your DTM project that you requested. Okay, any questions about eligibility or how you receive your DTM project? Connie?
Thank you. You said that you request it. What do you just email World Headquarters and say, I've completed one complete path and I've done my level 3 and then this path, please send
Yes.
me. Okay, that's all, just an email.
Just an email.
Okay.
Just an email to the education department, cite your completed path, your level 3. They will verify that those have been marked as completed and awarded by World Headquarters, and then they will push your DTM path to you. You know, DTM project to you. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Mark.
So do you have any input into the DTM project, or it's assigned
you'll
to
have
you?
lots of input into the DTM project after you get it. You're going to find about all of that tonight.
Okay, all right, my bad.
Okay, yeah. All right, any other questions about eligibility and how to request it? No?
I saw Jim's hand up earlier, Jim France. Did you have a question, Jim?
I did, but it has already been asked and answered.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love when I can do that. Thank you. All right, then let's move on. Let's talk about the tactical requirements. This is the nitty-gritty stuff that you have to do. There's no discussion about it. It is the requirements to earn your DTM in Pathways. We've already talked about the 2 learning paths that you will have to complete both of them before you'll be eligible to actually submit for your DTM. So those 2 learning paths you'll continue to work on. Then there are the service requirements. I always say district service, but some of it is the club level. You'll need to serve as a club officer for 12 months. Now, if your club elects semi-annually, that means 2 terms for you. If your club elects annually, that means 1 term for you. You'll need to, as always, participate in preparation of a club success plan and participate in the district-sponsored club officer training programs, which we know in District 3 as TLI. Okay. You will also have to complete 1 year of service as a district officer. This gets a little complex because of that year extension on the coach and sponsor roles. So let's go through the exceptions one at a time. Typically, your 1-year term as a district officer is either area director, division director, or a member of the top 3, the club growth director, the program quality director, or the district director. Those are the typical district level service that they refer to. However, during this exception period, if you were a Pathways ambassador and you got signed off on completing your duties, then and received your full credit and recognition from World Headquarters as a Pathways ambassador, that will also satisfy the 1-year term of district service. There's also an additional footnote because of the extension. A club coach role successfully completed on June 30th, 2019, or June 30th, 2020, or June 30th, 2021 can be used to satisfy both the club coach requirement and the district leader requirement. Applications using this exception must be submitted directly to World Headquarters and cannot be processed online through Club Central. They will validate that you met the deadlines and the requirements accordingly. So let me pause here if anybody has any questions. I don't know that I can explain it much more straightforward than that, but I'll take a shot at it. Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
You asked.
I did.
Okay. What qualifies as a district officer? Are there lots and lots of them? Because I'm sure there's lots of people that want to be DTM.
Typically, it's area director, division director, club growth director, program quality director, and district director.
Okay, so if I am in area,
If you are an area director and you complete your full term,
if I'm in area 4 and I am the area director for area 4, that would qualify.
if you complete your year of service, yes.
And then one follow-up question, and I'll shut up for a while. I spend 4 months of the year in Arizona, the other 8 in South Dakota. Can I perform the duties of an area director via Zoom?
You will have to run that by your district director.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. Jared, I think I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I have in Club Central. I've been the district webmaster for about 3 years, and that's showing up in the Club Central. Would that count as district officer or district credit?
Not that I'm aware of. The district webmaster is not a recognized district role,
Okay,
not for district service credit.
but it is in Club Central as that. So, but that's not the same.
Well, you're going to make me go look that up now, aren't you?
That's
Because that would have to have been a change and I'm not aware of it. So we will verify that, Jared, and confirm whether or not it is. To my knowledge, it's not, but I could be wrong.
all right. Thank you.
Mhm. Are there other hands?
Yes, Kathy Smith has her hand up.
Yes. Serving 1 year term as a district officer.
Hmm?
Would that include if you're, for example, if you're retention chair or TLI chair or chair of one of the groups that we have?
Committee chairs have never been counted as a year of district service. Not in my lifetime in Toastmasters.
Oh.
Jared's question, well,
Oh,
and you have to remember, I didn't think it was right either, because I did multiple years as TLI chair and I served as chair for several other committees. I never got a year of district service for that, but I was eligible for committee chair recognition by the district for that, but it's not a world headquarters recognized district office. Okay,
that's nice to know. I did not know that. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And Sandy Brogan,
Yeah, thanks. A club coach role successfully completed way before June 30th, 2019 will still count as the satisfaction of the number 4, right? Serve
Yes.
successfully as a club, huh? Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
has always been true. Any credit that is in your educational record that has never been used towards an educational award is still eligible to be used even in this case.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
okay, Mike Jansen has his hand up.
Okay. And I see
Thank you,
Wendy's
Bobby.
hand too. Okay, Mike.
Trish, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I am great tonight. Thank you for the
Excellent.
education. This is helpful. Just a quick question. On number 5, the DTM project, is that what we used to refer to as the HPL? Similar?
The DTM project and an HPL are not the same in Pathways.
But does the DTM project replace the HPL?
Not necessarily, because an HPL may be a required project for the path that you are completing as one of your 2 completed paths.
I see. Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome. Okay, I've seen Wendy's hand a couple of times. I'm going to interrupt and call for her. Wendy?
Thank you. I just wanted to refresh my memory, the difference between a club mentor and a club coach.
Mhm.
Can you
club-
help with that?
Yes, a club mentor gets assigned to a new club for a period of 6 months. They have specific things they're supposed to accomplish during those 6 months, while a club coach gets assigned to a club that is not performing as a distinguished club, and it's a low member club. So they go in on their assignment to help rebuild the club and ensure the club reachieves distinguished status, and they're given 1 year to do that.
Trish, I wanted to also confirm that prior service as district treasurer, would that count toward district service?
I'm going to have to look that up. It might.
Okay, thank you.
I'll bring up the.
And Harsha has a hand up as well.
Okay.
Hi, Trish.
Hello.
I have a quick question. For a club coach, I heard that there is a kind of a coach committee and you reach out to them and they assign you as a coach to a club. But what about mentorship? Is there a group that assigns that I would go to and ask them to see if there's a club that needs mentoring, or yeah, how does that work?
Well, you need to work with the club extension committee because they oversee the chartering of new clubs. Okay. And they are the ones that assign the club sponsors and mentors.
Club extension committee. And how would I go about finding their information?
You could look for the committee actually on the district's website, or you could contact your area director.
I am the area director.
Well, then you can contact your division director or any member of your trio.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So number 3 is that you will serve successfully as a club mentor or a coach. You will also, or you have the option, I'm sorry. You will serve successfully as a club sponsor or conduct a speechcraft or youth leadership program. And remember, those speechcraft and youth leadership programs are still the old material for the time being. They are in the process of revising those and bringing them up to align more with Pathways, but those are separate programs that you order through World Headquarters and make those available then to communities or to youth, to a youth program. Number 5, then complete the DTM project. And this is the one that we're here to talk about tonight. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. We're going to dig right into the details unless there are any other questions that I need to pause at this point for.
Trish, this is Bobby, and I have a question. So what about having completed previous youth leadership programs prior to 2019, let's say?
Same answer that I gave Sandy earlier. If you've been credited with a speechcraft or a youth leadership program in your educational record at World Headquarters and have never used it towards an educational award, then it is still available for you to use even with the Pathways DTM.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's, whoops.
You said for the coach 1 year. I believe you have 2 years that you can or if you're assigned, isn't that correct? Yeah, you have 2 years.
Technically, yes, you'll get another year, but you want to try to get it done in 1.
Yeah.
You technically have to request the additional year. I don't think it's automatic, is it?
I thought it was automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fair question. I would not assume. I would verify. Most coaches go in with the mindset though that they are going to complete it in the first year. Yeah, so sooner rather than later is always better.
This is Robin. Sorry, and my camera went out again. I don't know what its problem is. But I was just looking into this for the newsletter, actually. And there was an email that went out on August 19th from TI headquarters to club officers anyway, that gave the details on this dual credit, and it says that you need to do the coaching, get the club to achieve distinguished or better status, help them reach a minimum of 20 paid members, which is different. It's not necessarily just the add 5. And you have to have served a minimum of 6 months in the coach role. So make sure you get assigned before December 31st this year. And get them to distinguished.
Okay. Thank you, Robin.
I'll put it in the chat.
All right. Let's move on and get into the heart of the DTM project. The intent behind the DTM project is to give a member the opportunity to use a specific project of their own design in order to demonstrate the communication skills growth and leadership skills growth that they have gained from being a member in Toastmasters. It's a way for you to build a resume quality entry given the experience and the results of your DTM project. Specifically called out in the objectives are that you will demonstrate your skills as a public speaker. You will demonstrate the leadership skills that you have gained from your path studies, and you will demonstrate the role model of the values in Toastmasters by being an ethical leader and being committed to delivering the Toastmaster values. Now, when it comes to the project, they will not, just like a speech project, Toastmasters is not going to tell you what kind of project you have to do. But the intent for this project is to be meatier and more challenging than a high performance leadership project, and a full demonstration of both communication and leadership skills. You will have the opportunity to design a beneficial project and lead a team from inception through completion. Okay. This is the module as it's laid out. Your ethical framework is developed over time through your experience, learning, and the impact of role models in your life. There is also an ethical leadership project in level 5, which would be a good project for you to earmark in preparation for your DTM. An ethical structure is necessary to provide a foundation for making ethical choices. The content of your framework is unique to you and is not necessarily permanent. It may adjust over time and in different situations. Having a framework in place, one that you have thought about and questioned, allows you to make difficult ethical decisions. It is the difference between driving a car when you are trained and licensed and choosing to drive without any training at all. Struggling until you learn what to do and endangering people around you. So the things that they're looking for this project to help demonstrate is your internal consistency related to your ethical framework, how you proactively demonstrate good values and good ethics, and the dynamicism of you as a leader. Okay, clear as mud. All right, the first question that I usually get about the DTM project is, well, what kind of project do I have to do? This isn't just oh, I'm gonna organize a speech contest and that'll count towards my DTM project. That is not the intent. That's not meaty enough. That's a good high performance leadership project, but it's not necessarily meaty enough for a DTM project. Remember, Your DTM project is supposed to be the culmination of your communication and leadership skills. And your results should show that you demonstrated your abilities as both a communicator and a leader, and did so in a way where you maintained an ethical standard and you displayed Toastmaster values. Okay. All right, that's the first part. So what qualifies as a DTM project? It's supposed to be a multifaceted project that benefits an organization, not you. It's not about you. This is about what you're going to go out and do in the real world or in Toastmasters, and do a project that moves the needle, that benefits that organization in some specific way that you've defined as part of the goal of this project. Multifaceted by its own nature means having many sides, a particular aspect or feature of the individual units that make up the whole. So a complex project is what is desired here, not just a hammer it out in 3 months, get it done kind of thing. We're talking about possibly fundraisers for a specific organization where you have a mark to achieve, or you've set a mark to achieve a certain quantity of funds that you're going to raise, that you're going to be working with the organization and with PR and with a team and with counterparts perhaps in other aspects, so that you are demonstrating that you can lead across a variety of people. Okay, that you'll be held accountable for the goals that you have set for this project, and you'll do a report out showing how you successfully move the mark, but how the team helped you to do this. This is not a single individual thing that you're going to do. It does require that you have a team. And remember that the definition of a team is defined as a group of people who perform independent tasks to work towards accomplishing a common mission or specific objective. So you have to have other people involved. You have to have committee meetings. You have to work together as a team. You have to manage people going off and doing their particular assignments or aspects of the project, and bringing all of those efforts together into one result. This will truly test your communication skills and your leadership skills to be able to not only define it, to sell it, to get people on board with it, to manage and communicate with those people, to keep everyone on task, to bring everything together on the final delivery date and produce the result that you set out to attain. You will get 360 feedback from the people that you have worked with as part of this project. So your project team, the organization who you are benefiting by this project, and peers that you have worked with, if that is applicable. And you will be required to deliver 2 speeches. Mike, this is where it's still like the HPL. You will need to do a visionary speech, and you will need to do a report out of your outcomes, benefits, and lessons. Okay, but in that regard, that and the 3 people minimum, that's about the only similarity it has to a high performance leadership project. After that, it really becomes something big. All right. Now, in your work environment, you may have an opportunity to use a work project towards this. I'm thinking of a couple of projects I have coming up now that might be good DTM candidates, because they will definitely have process optimization, cost savings goals, and and more efficiencies in the work that the teams are doing. So that's one that I'm looking at as a possible DTM project. All right, let me pause again and see how this is, hitting y'all. Sandy, I see a hand.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do the 360 evaluations need to be given by Toastmasters?
No, if you're doing a project at work, for example, then, and your team is 8 people, from your department, you're getting your 360 evaluations from those people.
Okay, thanks.
Any other hands?
Kathy Smith.
Yes, couple of quick questions. Could this project be something that you put together to present at TLI or at conference, a special something that you want to do at conference or TLI? That's one question. And the other question, which just left my head, I can't remember the second question, but my primary question is this: could this be something that I could put together, present it to the district director or the trio, say this is something I would like to present at conference or at the next TLI? Could you do it that way? Would they be open to that?
Okay, I can't speak for the trio, but based on what I'm hearing you say, if you were presenting it to me, a presentation is not a DTM project. That offers no benefit to my organization. If you want to do a fundraiser of some kind, or if you wanted to introduce a new award that would increase the number of distinguished clubs that the district is producing, if you wanted to offer a more streamlined approach that's still within the criteria and guidelines of Toastmasters International for chartering new clubs, that took us from chartering 10 clubs a year to chartering 30 clubs a year. Now you're adding the benefit on top of it. This is not just doing a presentation when it's all over.
My other question was, if this is a project outside of Toastmasters, do you have to have another Toastmaster observing or being part of the project?
It would be a good idea so that you have somebody grounded in Toastmasters to bounce ideas off of or get feedback on, from them. But if you choose to do a project outside of Toastmasters, then your primary group that you'll be working with would be non-Toastmasters. The evaluation forms can still be filled out by a non-Toastmaster. But if I'm your vice president of education, I'm going to want to see a list of all the folks that you're working with, and then I'm going to want to see 360s from all of them, and I'm going to want to see evaluations from key people that had an observatory role. Notice I said if I'm your VPE, okay? All right, anything else?
So Trish, I don't see any mention of a guidance committee of any sort, so I guess that's not part of it. Okay. But it wouldn't preclude you from having a guidance committee, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I would see my guidance committee as being peers to some degree. If I'm going to do, when I did a project as a high performance leadership project, I did a work project. It had a Toastmasters aspect to it, but it was done primarily as a as part of my annual performance evaluation. Okay. So when I did that, my manager and another manager were part of what I considered my guidance committee. They didn't know they were guidance committee members, but I met with them regularly. I asked for feedback regularly. I did ask them to give me formal feedback, written feedback at the end of it. So I had all that to substantiate my high performance leadership project. Okay. All right. So these things about what qualifies as a DTM project comes straight out of the project description for the Distinguished Toastmaster. I didn't make any of these things up. You see them highlighted on the diagram to the right.
And Wendy, did I see your hand go up?
You did. I was trying to figure out if you could be working on your DTM project and work on a high performance leadership project separately, but at the same time. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
I
You
would be
can do simultaneous project work, but you can't use the efforts of both projects for you can't use the efforts of one project towards counting for both awards.
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But working two
just-
simultaneous projects, absolutely.
I just see that this project, DTM project, is going to be lengthy. And that's why I was trying to figure out how I could juggle both.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Connie?
Still trying to get a handle on more examples. So Wendy is the conference chair. That would be a meaty, great DTM project, right?
Would depend on what her goals were. Just delivering a conference is not multifaceted. Delivering a conference that had a specific attendance goal and a monetary revenue stream, that's meaty.
Okay, so for one of the chair positions, would you say, for instance, being the DTM ceremony chair, and if you put your goals is, let's say that there's going to be 20 DTMs that you get 15 to attend, would that be
No.
considered? No.
Not in my opinion. You're delivering a DTM event. You may have a goal of 20, DTMs that you want to recognize. But now the multifaceted part comes in. How are you going to specifically develop those DTMs to ensure you meet the goal? Are you going to help drive their DTM projects? Are you going to counsel, mentor them? Are you going to have regular meetings that help keep them on pace? See, that's the multifaceted aspect. You really need to stop thinking like a high performance leadership project that says, I have one thing to do and I'm going to get that done. You're talking about showing that you can come up with a plan, set a goal, and then manage multifaceted aspects that contribute to the achievement of that goal. You might have a PR team that you have to manage. You might have a financial team that you have to manage. You might have a documentation team that you have to manage. You might have a quality control that, again, that's when it becomes multifaceted. Conference certainly has the potential, but without the goals, the specific goals, and a plan for how you're going to meet them, it doesn't have the multifaceted aspect. Not in my opinion. And there's nothing in black and white from Toastmasters International that will tell you. For example, there are 2 examples cited in the actual module. The first one is to develop a successful plan for promoting your Toastmasters Club. Complete the promotion and share it with the leaders in your district to communicate to other clubs. So what you're doing is you're using your club as a pilot to demonstrate how you can successfully promote a Toastmasters Club. The benefit is that you're preparing that as transition material that's sustainable once it's out of your hands. Here's our book for promoting your club, and every club that follows it becomes a club able to successfully promote and grow their own. So you started out with something that was specific to your club. You then made it sustainable by being able to make it something you could transfer to other clubs that could operate it without you. Think of Toastmasters. How many clubs Dr. Smedley started and none of them stuck once he left. But then when they added 2 things to what they were doing, having club officers and conducting a business portion in the meeting, that made the officers responsible for sustaining the club. And when trained properly in how to conduct club business and how to lead the club, they were able to continue leading the club and continue growing the club after Dr. Smedley left. Okay, that's the difference between just going in and chartering a club and being done with it. And then if it fails, no big deal. They're not there anymore, you know, versus every club I charter is going to last at least 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, because I will have taught them how to self-sustain. Do you see how the multifaceted layer comes into play then? Okay. The other example that they cited was design a project to benefit a different organization by developing a fundraising plan or designing a plan to collect donations of needed items. Again, you would be setting specifics. There's a monetary goal, or there's a gross quantity of supplies that need to be gathered. How many bottles of water does it take to distribute to homeless people? Excuse me, to the homeless people on the street. So it's not just gathering 5 pallets of water, it's gathering 10,000 bottles of water and then finding a way to get them successfully distributed within a set specific time, so that you can talk about the number of bottled waters that you got out into public hands that probably saved X number of lives. Okay. All right. Anything else here? It's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. Okay.
So,
all right.
Trish, I'm sorry. So this is Cynthia, and I'm trying to pay attention. So in essence, they're driving you to do two events, one a Toastmaster and one a non-Toastmaster? Is that what I'm understanding?
No. You define one project, but you define the project. It either is a project that's going to benefit Toastmasters or is going to benefit another organization. Okay, you choose. It's going to be internal to us or it's going to be external. Either one will work, but it must be a multifaceted project that benefits that organization. And part of your vision for that project is defining exactly how you intend to benefit the organization. So it's not just delivering an event. You have to deliver a event. You would have to deliver an event that is creating some material benefit to that organization. It's not just delivering a presentation. You know, it's creating some kind of an event or movement that ends up creating material benefits to the organization. Okay. All right. So when you do this big project, this capstone project, you know, what are some of the benefits then that you can look forward to? Well, part of the reason that the DTM project is separated from Pathwork is because it's not a Pathways project. It's a capstone project. It demonstrates everything your paths have taught you, what you have learned. So this is something much more unique and recognizable than a speech or HPL or, you know, hosting an event or something like that. This is unique and recognizable. This is going to make a difference. This is going to move the needle. This is going to leave a lasting impression. It is not meant to be a fast track effort. It is designed to be the culmination of approximately 5 years of communication and leadership skill development. If we go back to that list of tactical requirements, add up the years of service that you have to perform. A year at the club level, a year at the district level, a coach sponsor or mentor or a youth leadership program or communicate. These all take time. They're not one and done. Get it over in a week. You know, these are substantial things that you have to do, and they take time. So the DTM project is meant to be the capstone or the culmination of all of that work that you've been doing. It's designed to make a serious and noticeable contribution to an organization, and it is not limited to Toastmasters scope. Let me reiterate again. You can choose to do a Toastmasters organization related project or something outside of Toastmasters. And when this is done as it's designed, the completion of the DTM project then becomes a professional resume building demonstration of your communication and leadership skills. Imagine saying, I took on a project for Feed My Starving Children, where I increased volunteer times preparing meals by 50% and also secured additional revenue streams from contributors, increasing their contributions by an additional 20%. That allowed us to feed X numbers of more children than we've been feeding, you know, over the last 3 years. Do you see where I'm going with this? That is substantial. It's unique, it's recognizable, and it's definitely making a material benefit to that organization.
Question. When the request for I'm now ready to complete my DTM project, TI sends me my DTM package to work on, are they the determinants to determine yes or no, did I meet the qualifications for the DTM? Or is my VP of Education the one that determines whether I met the requirements to that DTM?
Ultimately, World Headquarters is going to approve or deny your capstone project. Okay, but VPEs need to learn what the expectations are, what the intent of the program is, so that they can properly guide you.
Question number 2. Upon receiving my package, I pulled together some ideas. I put those ideas together. Am I able to submit it to someone in TI that says, is this outline or scope enough to meet the requirements in the multifaceted outline of what my DTM is going to accomplish, before I take off down the happy path, complete this effort, only to be told it does not qualify?
I wish I could say yes, but I can't.
Okay, then that needs to be a flag somewhere. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. If you look at the resources that are provided with the DTM project, for anyone in this group that has any project management training at all, you're going to feel very familiar with them. There's a goal setting worksheet. There's a goal task list. There's a project plan overview. There's a project plan resource. There's the ethical framework worksheet. There's the project team contact list and guidance committee members. There are the 360 evaluation forms, and there are the final results of your speech evaluation. That alone is the longest resource list I think we have in any project in Pathways. So you can tell that they're expecting you to really think this one through and really plan your work and work your plan. and recruit yourself a team to show that you truly have leadership skills by managing the various aspects and goals that these team members will be working on and how you bring them all together to deliver the final result.
Trish, I see a question from Kathy Smith.
Kathy Smith, yes.
Yes, outside of Toastmasters, does Toastmasters have an objection if it's a for-profit organization? If it's for a profit-making group?
No, I've seen no restrictions on that in any of the material I've read about the DTM project. Okay. I will tell you about a Toastmaster member who did a high performance leadership project years ago that I think would have been a good project for a DTM project. He took the Toastmasters youth leadership program, educational program, and morphed all of that into a program for the Boy Scouts in developing the leaders that would go on to become like Eagle Scouts, and I don't know the entire Boy Scout organization, but to move them up from being cubbies all the way up to the highest level through their leadership awards. That project took him, I think, 1.5 years, 2 years to get it finally done. As he was pulling the actual program together into the guidance manual, I could see so much of the Toastmaster values and the intents that Dr. Smedley had in our organization, but it still was uniquely crafted for the Boy Scout organization. He presented that to the organization and got approval to then test market it here in Arizona. And the program became adopted then as part of the official way that the leaders of the organization would work with the youth, and the kinds of projects, giving the speeches, asking them to perform specific leadership responsibilities, putting some meat and accountability into some of the things that they do. It changed at least from a regional level, how the organization approached what they did with those young men. And that, to me, is the kind of thing that would qualify here as a capstone project. All right, bottom line is, you've got to take this from idea all the way to implementation. And they're specifically going to be looking for you to have developed your SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, or achievable, whichever you prefer, realistic, and then, of course, a set time frame with it. When I got my DTM project 2 years ago, I put 4 things on the list that I thought would be good. I thought that the approach that I could use towards judges training might move the needle in both the quality of the contests and the way we prepared speakers for contests. Then we went to a virtual platform and everything changed, and we scrambled to get the virtual training out. We didn't get enough time to fully prepare contestants. I scrapped the project as a DTM project, converted it to a high performance leadership project. Another one that I put on had to do with a work project, so I won't go into a whole lot of details on that one. That one's still on the list as a possibility, but I'm also looking at a couple of others that my manager's been telling me I'm going to assign to as maybe more relevant, being able to make a bigger, shift of the needle. In Toastmasters, I remember back when Cindy Newburn, some of you will remember Cindy, designed, planned, and began mentoring people and club leaders specifically towards the Black Ribbon recognition for having maintained distinguished status as a club for 3 or more years. That program improved the quality of our clubs, raised the performance numbers of distinguished clubs in this district, and produced sustainable distinguished clubs that we tracked for years until a leadership team came along and decided they weren't going to recognize the Black Ribbon clubs anymore. So those were called legacy clubs, and we don't have them anymore. They don't do the recognition anymore. But Cindy's efforts to design that program, communicate that program, raise up a culture of people to commit to and sustain and pass on that program was instrumental in producing huge results for District 3 and making District 3 a top district worldwide. Those are capstone type projects. Those are the things that they have designed this Distinguished Toastmaster project to be, and the things that we should strive as members to complete. There are resources that I will make available to you. This presentation will be posted on the Showtime website under the workshops folder for download, available tomorrow. And a copy of this presentation, the recording, will be posted to the Showtime YouTube channel. I know we have reached our end time. I've got about 3 minutes left, so let's stop the recording and I'll continue to take questions for as long as we keep the session open. Thank you, Bobby. And thank you everyone who's here.